Here we are. Hello, everybody.
Happy New Year. Well, that one doesn't work. This one doesn't work.
You have some half-ass ones. Huh? How's that? How's that? Okay, I can see you all tuning in. We are broadcasting at the moment both on Aftermath FM, but also on a number of platforms for those who want to also have the visual side of our entertainment, like our beautiful Christy, for example. How are you feeling, Christy, today?
I'm feeling good.
First day of the year 2022. Wow. This is the last day for our tree, for our Christmas tree. I
like
so
it.
welcome. I see you're tuning in, but you're not enough. You're not enough. You have to be more. We need more listeners. We need more viewers, because the show of today is an incredible show. Let me tell you. Okay, 2022. What a year. I would actually like to have also the visual side. Those who are tuning in through the radio, they can see the visuals. They lose part of the effect of the show, but actually they listen to the content, which is very important. That's why for those who don't have time to just sit down and view us, you can download the app. The Aftermath FM app. First day of the year 2022. And we start, of course, with this incredible predictions by the usual Nostradamus. We have already all over the place people who are talking about it. We want to talk about it because apparently they're terrifying, Casey. They're terrifying. Right. Terrifying 2022 predictions revealed, including World War III, an alien invasion, a new virus pandemic.
Well, maybe it's the old one and he's just late.
and then we have those who say instead there's going to be the rise of the robots, cryptocurrency. I mean, there is various ways of interpreting Nostradamus quatrains, this part of his prophecies that were written almost, not quite, 500 years ago. And it's incredible also how we have other clairvoyants, prophets, and mediums that are envisioning for this year natural disasters, water crisis, alien invasions, and much more. It all goes in line, by the way, with the release of my next book. Next book, are you ready?
Yeah,
are you ready?
Show it.
We want to thank our graphic designer, who, after intervening yesterday on my Italian show, he lives in Italy. He lives in the Umbria region, in central Italy. He has basically come up with the most incredible book cover for volume 7. Remember, guys, this book is going to be a masterpiece. I'm really working on it really hard. And now that I have also, let's say, the visual encouragement of this graphic, I'm really, wow. I'm struck by the in-depth, because here you have a lot of details, a lot of symbols. We're going to analyze them, of course, when the book is finally out. For the moment, I want you to prepare for volume 7, but I also want you to purchase the other books that precede volume 7. And that's, of course, volume 6.66, our current bestseller. Volume 5, which is a great book too. This is with an additional 120 pages from the past edition, which of course discusses also the current pandemic. And it was done a long time ago, but everything was pretty correct. Then we have volume 4, which is very important if you want to understand also the connections between the Jesuits, the Sabbatean Frankists, Hello, Christy. How are you? Huh? How are you? How is everything?
It's good if you put me on the screen.
Oh, well, we cannot
I like the
avoid
book,
putting
though.
Christy, but the cover is great.
It's
Christy,
really good.
I
It's
cover
really
you with the
good.
book. The
He's
book
amazing, really.
is amazing. Vincenzo Viceversa, great graphic designer, an artist, a truly illuminated individual who has come up always with the perfect covers for our books. Then we have, for those who are interested in Christie's books, volume 1 and 2, because a lot of people say, how did you meet? How did you two meet each other? How did you start knowing each other? Well, all of this is written in these books that Christie has written and published, volume 1 and 2 of Confessions of an Illuminati Princess. With these books, you are actually helping the show. You are helping us move forward. And for those who, of course, have already the books, but still want to help us out, what do you advise them to do, Christy? Maybe a donation through Cash App?
Yeah, the Cash App.
We have been banned from PayPal. It's important that all of you know how evil is PayPal. They removed 6 accounts, both belonging to me and my wife. We are basically not welcome any longer on PayPal. What do you think of this, Christine?
Not surprised. I'm not surprised.
You're not surprised? You're not
No.
surprised? Well, it's sad to see that the PayPal uses this kind of
Censorship.
yeah, because they're not really publishing material, or they are in some way compromising the image, like a social network might have that excuse. They are actually providing a service, but in the future, in a cashless society, in a credit score system, you might become the victim of people like PayPal. As Santi decide that you're not, you can't use their platform anymore, and at that point, if there is a cashless society that only accepts PayPal, what are you gonna do? Well, I hope that doesn't happen. And in fact, I hope that we can strive still with Cash App. Cash App, leozagami. Here we have it also on the screen for those who want to, of course, contribute with a donation. We have also GoFundMe and
GoFundMe
and Fundly.
You're getting them mixed up.
I'm mixing them up. Okay. Are you ready to start with this?
Okay,
No. I think you should do an opening speech, Christy. In the meantime, for this, what you would like people to say on this first day? Maybe what is your New Year's resolution? We're gonna be receiving phone calls later on, and we're gonna be discussing with all our viewers and listeners what is their New Year's resolutions after we finish with all the doom and gloom. Of course, that precedes everything, because it's part of the show.
Amen.
Okay, so what is your message in the meantime? A positive message, whatever message you have for 2022 for all our viewers.
Well, I hope that we're all healthy and positive, and we can look at each new day that God has given us with gratitude. And my New Year's resolution is to try to help more people to find God. That maybe some people don't have God, like they don't have a relationship with God. And I would just, if I can, try to help people to maybe get closer to God. I know a lot of people that watch this show are already close to God, but there are a lot of people that aren't, and we should try to help them. And so that's what I want to do, is try to help more people to find God, because He's so wonderful. And it's such a great relationship to have if you have a relationship with God. And so, it's just so much happiness, and to have that in your life and in your heart brings so much joy. And that's what I hope for everyone. So that's what I wish for 2022.
Do you like Richard Wagner?
I do.
I think that for this apocalyptic scenario, nothing is more suitable than Wagner's Funeral March. I know it's a little bit heavy.
Okay, on to the doom and gloom.
On to the doom and gloom. On to the doom and gloom. Well, you know.
We have to hear. We have to be knowledgeable. So.
Yes, we have to, eh?
We must.
We must be knowledgeable. We must be knowledgeable, eh? But let's see what happens here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the doom and gloom. Is arriving? Is arriving? Is not arriving? It's arriving. It's arriving. Okay. So here we are. Wherever you are in the world, now it's 2022 all over the place. Yeah? There's nobody who's still in 2021. That's it. We were amongst probably the last ones to enter 2022. Huh? I'm drinking a protein drink. I know.
Because you didn't have time to eat your breakfast.
Yes, I've been preparing this extraordinary show. Okay, so here we go with the doom and gloom. New pandemic. Okay. The biggest concern about this new year is, of course, COVID, but there is also the possibility of new strains. This is a ongoing bacteriological warfare. And Paul Hunter, professor in medicine at the University of East Anglia, said the virus is here to stay. Ultimately, he said, we will see more waves of infection over time, but each wave will be less of a pressure on the health service. Finally, they are saying maybe that in 2022, we're gonna declass this whole mess to a common flu. That would be a good thing, but I doubt it's gonna happen. I doubt it's gonna happen. Happy New Year, everybody! Somebody is wondering, but why you so doom and gloom? It's the first day of the year. No, because with Leo Zagami, we like to be realistic. And we like also to surf this end time scenario with a smile.
I'm smiling. I don't care. I smile through it.
You smile for it?
I live with you. So.
That's okay then. That's okay then. Okay, so what happens here? We have different quatrains. I mean, it's important, first of all, to understand what we are commenting here. So let me show you a video here, one of the videos that has been published about these doom and gloom predictions for 2022. Because, of course, we are not the only ones talking about it. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show, Saturday, the 1st of January,
2022.
2022. See, they like to always put some kind of climate change agenda. Huh? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let me take it from here. Welcome, everybody. This is the Leozagami show. Of course, everybody's on their own interpretation of the Nostradamus facts and predictions for this 2022. That sounds pretty bleak, by the way. Let's hear another more synthetic description of what might happen.
Want to know what kind of potential calamities could be looming for next year? One famous astrologer has you covered. Keep watching to learn about the bleak predictions Nostradamus had for 2022. For centuries, the more superstitious corners of popular culture have been obsessed with the prophecies of a 16th century French astrologer and soothsayer known by his Latinized name, Nostradamus. 4.5 centuries after their publication, the soothsayer's quatrains, or poems with 4 stanzas, are still analyzed and debated. Believers say at least some of his predictions have come true, such as poems that supposedly predicted the Great Fire of London or the death of Henry II of France. Skeptics point out that prophecy is an inexact science, and that Nostradamus' writings are vague enough that you could look at some of his poems and tie them to just about anything, even unruly apprentices.
I'm going to leave now.
Wait!
What?
Okay, now go.
Okay, bye!
Buy Apple stock.
Regardless of your take on the seer's purported prophetic abilities, it does appear that his poems mention a few things that, looked at in the right context, we may have to deal with in 2022. Part of one Nostradamus quatrain appears to reference food shortages, and it's a rather bleak prediction that ends with cannibalism. So high the price of wheat, that man is stirred, his fellow man to eat in his despair. There have been famines throughout the world on several occasions since Nostradamus wrote those words, so he could have been talking about anything or nothing. However, it does bear noting that several factors are working together right now that could be pointing to food shortages, if not outright famine. Inflation is becoming a problem in the US and Europe. Europe in particular is dealing with the economic repercussions of Brexit and supply chain issues. This has all, at least partially, been caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and has led to food shortages in some places. So far, these food shortages have been more of a giant inconvenience than an actual famine. However, the global supply chain issues are far from being solved, and things may well get worse before they get better. 2 other bleak predictions from Nostradamus are far worse than just food shortages and famine. Indeed, 2 of his prophecies could point to the worldwide extinction of humanity and possibly a slow, painful, and gruesome end for at least some of us. These dark predictions come from this quatrain. For 40 years, the rainbow will not be seen. For 40 years, it will be seen every day. The dry earth will grow more parched, and there will be great floods when it is seen. This poem could be interpreted as a prophecy about a worldwide drought brought on by nuclear winter.
Nostradamus, what are you seeing?
War. And the cost of war.
Meanwhile, another line, "Fire do I see that from the sky shall fall," points to an asteroid impact and the resultant effects on human life. Indeed, potentially cataclysmic asteroids are zipping past Earth all the time, and it's a matter of when, not if, one capable of causing a mass extinction event will strike. For now, however, NASA is not predicting any major asteroid impacts or near misses for 2022, but they are keeping their eyes on a space rock that's expected to be coming a little too close for comfort in 2029. While wars, famines, and meteor impacts were all things long before Nostradamus had put pen to paper, there's another possible threat that he couldn't possibly have seen coming: the rise of artificial intelligence. For decades, the idea of computers and robots gaining sentience and wreaking havoc has been a staple of science fiction plots, but Nostradamus may have seen it coming centuries earlier. The prophet wrote, "The new sage with a lone brain sees it, by his disciples invited to be immortal," which could be a warning about AI. Maybe it's no coincidence that everyone's favorite real-life comic book supervillain Elon Musk has lately branched out into making robots. Meanwhile, relying too much on AI has already caused real-life problems, such as passengers of Teslas not actually driving their cars and instead relying on its self-driving feature, which, for the record, is neither foolproof nor intended to be used as a replacement for a human driving the car. This valuable but misused feature has already led to fatal accidents. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more grunge videos about weird history are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.
We don't miss anything. We are here. This is Leo Zagami. This is Chris Zagami. This is the first day of January 2022, and we are discussing the doom and gloom prophecies of that man called Michel de Notre Dame, otherwise known as Nostradamus. Now, somebody was talking to me about the fact that Nostradamus was or not was a contemporary of John Dee. The most important thing regarding Nostradamus is that he was linked to Catherine de' Medici. Catherine de' Medici was herself a queen that came from Italy, unfortunately from Toscana. I say unfortunate because it was right in the Medici era that we have, of course, that creation that became, worldwide famous, the Machiavelli's prince. But not only that, there is something else here that I wanted to discuss with you, because Nostradamus was the astrologer at court when Catherine de' Medici did her first Black Mass. The first Black Mass in history, as I explain in volume 6.66 of my Confessions, right here, was made by Catherine de' Medici. So, for those who want to know a little bit more about this dark side of things that might also in some way be connected to Nostradamus, here I have the illustration of Cosimo Ruggeri and Catherine de' Medici, Artisanal 20th century. This is volume 6.66. So, if you want to know the Medici family, of course, in some way, people know about Nostradamus because of his quatrains, but he was also some kind of physician, healer, reputed though a seer, a very important one. He was invited in 15. Christy, what happened here? What happened exactly? A bottle of water seemed to have fallen off somewhere. It's fine. Okay, so going back to Michel de Nostradame, known as Nostradamus. Notre Dame is really that church, Notre Dame, that, by the way, was burnt down in 2019 and now might be reconstructed as some kind of libtard one world order, one world religion temple. Going back to Nostradamus, after his education in Avignon, he studied in Montpellier. These are places I know very well because my father used to bring me every year to Montpellier. And he was kind of fixated to go in all these places. They have also a connection, though, to the Knights Templars, by the way, these places in France. So Nostradamus, in 1555, completed the first part of his book of prophecies that was to contain prediction about important and often disastrous events from his time back then to the supposed end of the world. These prophecies were grouped into centuries, not centuries in terms of years, though, but in terms of there being 100 cryptic and obscure quatrains in each century. These quatrains are 4-line poems written in a cryptic mixture of French, Provençal, Italian, Greek, and Latin. So for me, it's actually rather easier to go directly into the Italian versions and quatrains to analyze better this situation. I would say that definitely there is something happening this year in 2022. It's not an ordinary year. The predictions, though, of Michel de Nostradamus are, of course, making the headlines. From the Daily Record, which I'm going to show you now, to the New York Post, to, I think it's that time of the year, though, no, Christy? They like to take out but it's also true that things have gotten quite apocalyptic lately. Isn't that the case?
Especially the last couple of days.
Why the last couple of days? What happened?
That fire.
The fires in Colorado. Now, we're going to be discussing the fires in Colorado because you used to live in that area.
I
no?
did. I lived in Longmont.
And you used to live in that area. I want to show these articles that are coming out. Here we have terrifying predictions revealed, including World War III, an alien invasion, and new virus pandemic. And this is not the only. Then we have the New York Post here, more grim predictions also, but in some other kind of predictions, because each one interprets the quatrains in a different way. Nostradamus predictions here, it says cannibals, robots, and the rise of cryptocurrency. So definitely there is nothing really positive about this 2022. But we should make it positive for ourselves. And we need to survive all this. So that's why I have prepared volume 7 of my confessions, which is both a traditional Zagami Illuminati confessions book, which, of course, in some way pertains of my experience within these secret societies, within the New World Order, but also wants to be a preparatory manual for what's coming. The title of the book is From the Occult Roots of the Great Reject to the Populist Roots of the Great Reset. Somebody is saying, where is the dog? The dog sleeps. He comes out only at the end of the show.
He's not a dog.
It's not a dog. It's not a dog.
A little creature of love.
He's
over there.
He's a little creature of love.
He's snoring. You might be able to hear him.
Yeah. So all this, of course, this year that is coming, that is starting now, it's not even coming, it started. So we are officially on day one of this doom and gloom scenario. The prophet of doom himself, Nostradamus, was far from a sunny outlook of the future, Christy. I'm sure that you find some similarities with me. In a way, huh? No. Why you laugh about that?
I just never really listened to Nostradamus.
No,
I always changed the channel because I didn't like the way it made me feel. So I just didn't listen.
Okay.
It didn't make me feel very good.
Okay. So
I live my day every day, but now. I don't worry about what.
Well, but soon, yes, but soon, from probably next week or the week after, you're gonna start editing and working on my book.
That's fine. I learn a lot.
You learn a lot from my books.
I do.
And they have always, in a way, exactly pinpointed.
No, your books. When I read your books, I get excited. I feel like I'm reading something really important, and I don't know. I just feel a lot of enlightenment, and that's just the truth. So that's how I feel. I get really excited when I read your books. So,
how much money you want at the end of the show for saying that?
Mostly for free. So.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I see you're tuning in. We are broadcasting at the moment on YouTube, on Top Secret, the Leo Zagami Show, on our official Zagamiani channel, by the way. We have a lot of Italians who are popping in to say buon anno a tutti gli italiani. Then we are broadcasting, of course, on Leo Lion Zagami in America.
We're all going to be positive.
And we are broadcasting, of course, on Aftermath FM, which you can download, by the way. You can find Aftermath FM app on Google Play. You can download it, and then you can just put it in your pocket, put your earpieces here, no? Mm-hmm. And then you can just go around doing your own thing, listening to us wherever you are. Very convenient, especially if you are in the car. Now, you can't get distracted by us visually. You can simply listen to us. Isn't that much better? Isn't that much better? Okay. So happy New Year, everyone. I see you. More and more people are tuning
Please
in.
share this video
Please.
so more people can be enlightened.
Please share this video. More people. Hopefully, more people will be enlightened. Other people will never be enlightened. They're simply brainwashed by the propaganda of the mainstream media, and in the end, they just.
It's like hitting a brick wall when you try to open the eyes of some people.
People. Yeah.
Yeah, some people I'm thinking about in particular.
Yeah, it's difficult to deal with them. Eh?
Yeah.
Okay, going back to Nostradamus, amongst the various quatrains, I found interesting the one, a specific one, that actually I think points out very much on what's happening with Ukraine. It's true that we are dealing also with China and the possible invasion of Taiwan. The fact that there might be, though, an invasion of Ukraine might bring Europe into a nuclear war scenario, a unprecedented scenario, first of all, because already Russia is closing the gas and limiting the oil export into Europe, and that is growing the price, making the prices rise very high. Italians, for example, I make an example of Italian because I'm Italian now. We lived there for so many years. Now they will be paying 50% more electricity and 40% more gas from this month.
Oh my God.
That is the kind.
It's already high.
It was already high, and now it's going to be even more high. So that is a little.
So, like when we lived in Subiaco, when we used to go to Rome, it used to cost. You used to say it cost like $50
to go backwards and forward. It costs $60, 50
okay,
euros.
It costs $30 each way, and so now it's going to cost $120.
Yeah, it's going to cost even more. So I don't know. It's just crazy. I don't know.
And
no,
then
well,
it's
I mean, we're not. I don't know for regarding the gasoline. What kind of? I think they have some kind of limitations. So the prices are already up. I think the prices are mainly going up for the gas you use for warming the home and for the electricity. So there is definitely this prediction, this 40 years, the rainbow will not be seen for 40 years. I mean, this is kind of pointing on some kind of...
Is he always right, though, this guy?
Well, it needs to be interpreted. Some people say that he has said absolutely nothing because every year, we go into the analyzing Nostradamus, but the critics of Nostradamus, of course, have a different view.
And then God doesn't ever tell the future. And so, who's Nostradamus talking to, really? Well, but I mean, the clairvoyants, the mediums, or even the Oracle of Delphi predicted the future, but they are not necessarily in contact with the God. That's what I'm saying.
But if we want to go to somebody who has... let's say, a more skeptic point of view, we can go to this website I found that has a more skeptic point of view regarding Nostradamus. We can go there if you want a second, just to show you what they say. Well, it's always good to see what the other side says, no? So, here we have, this is what Nostradamus actually predicted, and I'm putting it on the screen. Here we are. Seems like signal this morning is not that great. Okay, and of course these websites sometimes have a bunch of publicity you have to just remove before you can even check out anything decent on them. This is what Nostradamus actually predicted that will happen in 2022. And still there is a good dose of doom and gloom. It says here, if you spent enough time on the internet towards the end of the year, you'll probably come across a fair few. This is what famed astrologer Nostradamus predicted for next year. Articles. It happens every year. I mean, like we said. But let's say that in the last few years, they're becoming more ominous. However, let's see what this article says. A lot of them tend to make out like the predictions are set in stone, And though Nostradamus was sat in the 15th century, 1500, sorry, writing, and in 2021 you'll be dealing with COVID, which is going to be an absolute nightmare. But brace yourself, because in 2022, Chris Pratt, I don't know here what they're saying. By the way, Les Prophecies 1555. At the end of the article, he basically he goes on the human extinction. We are predicting stuff you'll be never be alive to see. That's what he says, but whatever. Robot crisis, climate crisis, famine, blah blah blah. And in the end, they say the great thing about predicting the future for Nostradamus, I guess, is the bigger you are, the more right you can be about a larger number of topics. It's why horoscopes don't say things like "look out for that Lego brick, little Daniel left on the stairs on Tuesday," or you are in for a world of pain. Instead, opting for sentences like "the sun in the harmonic aspect will make you." So this is the completely scientific skeptic view, which is so they say it's so vague you can read anything into it, and it's really unhelpful with the with the future. And in the end, they say Nostradamus was especially good at creating prediction, so loose that eventually someone will be able to ascribe it to a not so dissimilar real world event. So in the end, they say the answer to the title is what Nostradamus actually predicted for 2022 is nothing. It's kind of like scraps it off altogether, and you have a tranquil, more, but the signs are all there. Unfortunately, they're all there. And also in that propaganda machine, predictive propaganda, I will call it a predictive programming propaganda machine, which is Netflix. Now, regarding the arrival of the comet, we know that in 2029, in April 2029, we're going to have Apophis, which is, by the way, in antiquity, the god of chaos and destruction. Apophis arrives in it's basically arriving in April 2021, so close to Earth. The analysis has changed in recent times, and they're saying, first they said Earth is safe from asteroid in April, but then when you go into analyzing the actual wiki, they had to make a correction in September, because it seemed that instead the uncertainty of the 2029 approach has been reduced from hundreds of kilometers to now just a couple of kilometers. I'm going to show you that just, Christy, so you understand here I'm not talking rubbish here. Okay, so let me show our viewers. We saw a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. Don't Look Up. Apart from the way they portray the patriots, because it's implicit in the movie that the president, even if it's a woman and really sounds more like Hillary, they make her look like she's some kind of Republican, and they made the whole patriot movement look like a bunch of fools who don't look up while the comet is about to hit them. I think that the rest of the movie is actually pretty pertinent to this situation. We had recently NASA that has been doing some experiments on this matter, but here we are on Yes, we lost the connection. Some difficulty when we start talking about these matters. That's strange, Christy. What does that mean? Well, okay, no. So let's go back to what I'm trying to explain here. Apophis. It's here we are. Okay, so 99942 Apophis. is a near-Earth asteroid and potentially hazardous asteroid with a diameter of 370 meters. Of course, 370 meters is not, I think, in that film, there was...
It was as big as Mount Everest.
There was really a mass extinction event because of how big it is. However, on the hazard scale, it's basically still, I think, rating quite high, because it could create definitely some kind of damage if it reached Earth. And like I said, while before the summer they gave some kind of reassurance that it will not hit the Earth, the uncertainty in the 2029 approach distance has been reduced from hundreds of kilometers to now just a couple of kilometers. So that's how it is. And it could definitely create a lot of damage. Not maybe the extinction level we saw in the film, which was, by the way, a good movie, aside from these demented references to maybe... I
didn't like... I mean, it was funny and everything, but it was okay. It was okay, but then it was so...
Doom and gloom, because at the end...
Everybody... I don't want to say in case people...
No, we can't say. I mean, at the end, everybody dies. And everybody dies mainly because...
But the movies like that are always like that. Seem like the ones we watch on Netflix, they have like really sad endings.
Yeah, they are really a little bit. In fact, I mean, it's just... Yeah, I noticed that.
What did I just watch for
we saw another film yesterday. Which was that?
Stowaway?
What?
That one, Stowaway?
Yes.
Or The Guilty, the one before that.
No,
we watched movies yesterday.
No, we had an entertainment moment. We usually I'm busy working, so yesterday we definitely had so what happened is that in that movie also there was an ending that was negative, and in the end the character. But before going to that movie, which actually has another kind of leftist theme in it, Black Lives Matter in space, because there is this black freeloader, because he's basically, in some way, he got stuck on a thing. He was a technician, and he goes into space with the rest of the crew, creating a problem on their on their survival. Yeah. And then in the end, they have to make some incredible decisions, but for a series of mistakes, in the end, this black guy is saved by one of the white scientists that sacrifices herself for him. Black Lives Matter in space. That's basically it's Netflix, guys. So what do you expect? You can't expect anything different. But the other one, Don't Look Up. Don't Look Up. It's not about climate change, as some people have suggested. It's not. It's regarding instead what might happen with a comet or an asteroid hitting planet Earth.
So then the next morning I had this, I went to bed that night and I was upset. And then the next morning I woke up and I had dreamt that half the planet had disappeared, but we survived, and so did Alex Jones.
Yeah. So,
a bunch of us survived, half the planet. And yeah,
I think in the end, like somebody suggested in the chat, is a stupid movie.
It's pretty dumb.
But
then Meryl Streep got eaten by a dinosaur bird, and so that was pretty cool. So then I was laughing, and then I was like, okay, it's okay. I'm okay now.
Yeah, because she's portraying a president who's supposed to be a conservative.
Yeah, she wore her version of, they had MAGA hats on.
But it was written, "Don't Look Up." And
I think that the comment is supposed to represent maybe loosely climate change and how we don't pay attention to climate change, and it's like, look and see climate change around you.
No. I mean, yes.
My sister put that thought in my head.
Your sister put a thought in your head, but I don't think it is.
She never saw
No, I personally don't think it's the right interpretation. I think that instead we are discussing the possibility of Apophis, also because let's not forget that Apophis is a reality, but many other asteroids or comets or whatever could hit the Earth in the future, and it's a possibility. However, going back to Nostradamus, there is at least 6 let's say predictions for 2022 that are included in his quatrains, and there is definitely a prediction for war, prediction in the quatrain number 10 of the 3rd century, because they're divided in the way that I described you at the beginning of the show. It talks about blood, calamity, and 7 times more arrival of migrants on the shores of Europe, basically.
That part sounds like it's true.
Definitely, that could be very true. Then we have also the one on climate, but they say it recites on the quatrain climate Babylonian climate, but the Babylonian climate can be also interpreted as something different. And by the way, the Pope didn't celebrate yesterday evening the Mass, and he's been seen with a lip very big. In the last few days, there is some speculations we have discussed, of course, that what's happening with Pope Francis, he might not last. 2022 might end up with Pope Francis dead and Ratzinger still alive, which will be really quite incredible if that happens. But at the same time, it will lead the way to another protagonist, which will eventually be the first African Pope in history, or in recent history at least. And black Pope in the sense of the black skin, while instead, in the case of Pope Francis, the reference of the black Pope is always made in the context of the Jesuit black Pope, which is the head of the Jesuits. Welcome everybody to the Leo Zagami show. No, not live, just Leo Zagami show. It will be too long. Leo Zagami show with Leo and Christy, broadcasting live from a number of platforms. Apparently, Nostradamus has also prophesied the fall of the European Union in 2022, Christy. I wouldn't mind that. I think it will definitely happen if this whole crisis with Ukraine escalates. They shut the gas, the people freeze, and more. Now they're gonna already now with the price of gas going so high, and with Putin doing it on purpose because he can literally close down these pipelines. And Europe is struggling now. Of course, America is sending some gas to Europe to let them ease up with the price, the cost of all this crisis. But I think that getting involved with Ukraine is the biggest error. So we have Ukraine there, we have Taiwan on the other side, we have China and Russia that are more allied than ever against America. And we have a scenario which is, of course, a negative scenario, but it's also the scenario of the Great Reset. Of the Great Reset. And it's manifesting in front of our eyes every day. And this Great Reset, it's they want to make you abandon capitalism in favor of not owning anything and being happy. That's what is the motto, let's say, what Klaus Schwab as predicted in his World Economic Forum. Klaus Schwab was in Rome recently. Nobody has talked about this. The news didn't come out on the mainstream press. And we don't really know if he met Cardinal Turkson or Pope Francis in secret, but he was in Rome. He met with Mario Draghi, the current Italian Prime Minister, who is also a Jesuit agent. So something is happening behind the scenes with Klaus Schwab going to Rome. At this point, we need to also say that there is somebody who is optimistic. Who is optimistic? Well, it's the head of the WHO, or at least the WHO's chief seems to be optimistic that the disease might be beaten in 2022. I tend to really not even listen to what these idiots from the WHO say, because they seem to really have led the world astray in matters of health. The World Health Organization chief says he is optimistic that the coronavirus pandemic will be defeated in 2022. Are you optimistic, Christy?
I don't know.
Now, in the next few weeks, they are, of course, giving us these new pills. Merck and Pfizer has asked the FDA for approval. The FDA, of course, approves it, but with some news that, of course, might not come as a surprise. It's apparently these medicines they have created for COVID are very dangerous. Are very, very dangerous. I have here an article discussing it from the Gateway Pundit. Says, surprise, FDA warns, here we are, warns that Pfizer experimental COVID pills cause life-threatening reactions when used with many common medications. So, I mean, it's like really incredible how, I mean, they have give us so much rubbish concerning ivermectin, concerning hydroxychloroquine, all the rest, and now they're pushing on something which has limited amount of experimentation, of course, and it's already said to be very dangerous in its interactions. That's not very good. Let me tell you, that's not very good. Wanted to show you, Christy, an angry trans man in wig and who attacks Dr. Shiva's fiancée, then assaults multiple women at Peaceful Truth Freedom Health. This angry trans man came out of an expensive, luxurious car in favor of Big Pharma. You see the big trans man in favor of Big Pharma. Let's go and check out this masked wigged character here. Here we have the man in drag come out against the patriots. How's that? Huh? Guys, ladies and gentlemen, you want to have another look at it? Okay.
It's not so bad.
What do you mean not so bad?
He doesn't have much makeup on it.
Whatever. Let's talk more about this on Friday, yesterday. This happened yesterday. Members of Dr. Shiva's True Freedom Health Movement held events across New England to celebrate the last day of the year 2021. They had a Freedom Health Day. The protesters gathered on bridges, parking lots, in places like Billerica, Boston, Cambridge, and Nashua. So we are talking actually places that are predominantly in the hands of libtards. However, unfortunately, a violent trans in a half mask and wig, of course, assaulted several women at one of their rallies, including Dr. Shiva's fiancée. So this trans man assaulted women in Cambridge. This local group of women were assaulted by this big trans man.
Terrible.
Terrible, definitely terrible. I mean, it's incredible how, and attacking women. They feel like they can attack women. This is a man attacking women. It's not a trans attack. This is an act of, it's a criminal act. So you were shocked. Are you shocked?
No.
No, she's not shocked. Why can't you make it work? Okay, can I do it? Watch, huh? Huh?
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't blow hard enough.
Okay. No comment. Let's move forward with more news of the day. Colorado. Now, Colorado, this is a Costco that you used to go to. Well,
it wasn't really my Costco. I don't think it was, but it might have been.
Because,
it might have been
okay,
there.
First of all, let's tell where you used to live.
I lived in Longmont for a little while, and then I lived in Essex. But when I was living in Longmont is like right next to Louisville, and I go through there. So.
And you used to go to that. To
I know
Costco
it. I
there.
know it. I know it.
You know it.
I know it.
You know. So they at one point they go out and they find themselves in apocalyptic scenario. Watch that.
That's crazy. I mean, that's so scary. Look at that. I can't imagine how they must feel. They must have felt. That is so scary. I mean, you're just shopping, and then all of a sudden you have to be faced with that. And then all those people lost their homes. I mean, it's just terrible. I was completely shocked to see, because I recognize, when you recognize an area, then you see, you remember going past there and then seeing all those houses destroyed.
Total distraction.
I mean,
Total
everything, all their memories gone on Christmas. Terrible. I mean, after Christmas, what a way to start the new year. We need to pray for these poor people.
It's like an apocalyptic scenario for 2022. They wake up with the fire and the snow on top now, because there is this.
It's terrible. It's just absolutely horrible. Everything, all these things. I mean, we had the tornado, and now this. It's really sad.
How is it possible, Christy, that it burns with snow? I mean, it sounds a little bit weird, though. Some people talk about direct energy weapons. Some people, I mean, it's like...
Well, it's a plane. It's like the plains, and so it's very, like, flat, So there's no, like, trees to block the... So maybe it started with a power line, and, like, it's very, very, very windy there, and so they had some wind, and maybe they didn't get the snow yet, because when it's windy, then all the snow blows away, So then, those houses are close to each other, and there's nothing blocking the path of the fire. And so it just takes everything out. I mean, it just was like one after the other, one house after the other. And the firemen couldn't contain it. So never, I mean, in the history of that area, it never happened before.
No, you never had
all
that.
The windy times. I mean, everybody's used to the wind, but I mean, it never happened before where this kind of thing.
Or was it windy? Somebody says here in the chat.
I mean, I wasn't there. That's what they say. I mean, I don't know if it was really windy.
Well, definitely.
And now they have snow. I mean, now they got dumped on.
They will always blame climate change. They will always blame climate change. Remember that. That's what happens. And they like to do that.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody. This is the 1st of January of the year of the Lord 2022. Doom and gloom prophecies that are actually manifesting in front of our eyes, made by Nostradamus, included also something regarding this kind of scenario. So, well, it happened in 2021, but it kind of poured into 2022, we can say, no?
Yeah.
It seems, though, a little bit of a piloted scenario, especially when it hits a place like Colorado, which is, after California, the most libtarded state.
Pretty is, yeah.
Pretty much. Okay, welcome. We have a lot of people tuning in. Christy, say hello to everybody. Yes. Share this video, subscribe, like the channel, do something positive. It's inexpensive. Like it, share it. Doesn't cost anything. And then we can bypass the shadow banning, the censorship, and whatnot. Leo, out of curiosity, what made you decide to migrate to California? Why not say Pennsylvania? Because I want to fight the enemy in the most influential state, because it's from, like I will explain in volume 7 of my confessions, I felt a little bit like when the scientists are drawn to discover the origins of a virus. In this case, they should go for the specific one to Wuhan. They went there, but China didn't collaborate.
We didn't plan on coming here.
We didn't plan to come here.
It was like a divine intervention.
But in divine intervention, because in the end, I felt drawn, though, for years to move here. We had
come here before.
Because I wanted to really fight the enemy where he is manifesting itself. And there is two places really that influence the world more than any other place on earth. One is Rome, with the Vatican, Jesuit headquarters, and the whole lot. And the other one is Silicon Valley in California. And on top of that, California, here, the Mojave Desert, was the place where the interdimensional doors were opened up by Crowley's disciples, Hubbard, Parsons, and this is
a bit different, though, here, like where we live. It's a bit different than like the other part of California.
Absolutely, because we are about to face the desert. Absolutely. Somebody says, I look like a barman, gin and lemon. Well, that's great.
No, you don't.
No gin and lemon. Gin lemon was actually my grandfather's favorite drink. He used to gist every day at 5 o'clock on the spot. Henry, my English grandfather, gin lemon before his game of bridge. I was very traditional. Huh? Okay, guys.
I think you look like a martini shaken, not stirred.
So California is basically a liberal chessman, but I can tell you that here in the Coachella Valley, we have formed already a nucleus of very, very influential people with me, Jordan Maxwell, and a bunch of survivalist experts, which are required and needed for our next move. Because, guys, as you will read in volume 7 of my confessions, in the next few years, if you stay in the big cities, you will face probably you could face death if you are stuck in a big city like LA, Los Angeles. Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York, Austin, whatever is the big city.
Even if it's in Texas.
Even if it's
moving to Texas.
Everybody's moving to Texas, but Austin is a shithole. I went to, after 10 years in Austin, after exactly 11 years from the 2008, I went back to Austin 2019, and I lost myself by mistake in a neighborhood which I used to know, and I was like, what? I was driving, Christy. I left you home that day because I was going to the InfoWars studio, and I was like, this city is really sucks. It's not the city of before. Absolutely, it's not the city of before. But it's not the city it used to be. So all the smart cities of the future that will include all the big cities. That's why the libtards have, like vultures, taken control of all the big cities. First of all, because they have the potential to control the states. Because you see, Las Vegas became libtard. Next thing you know, Nevada is libtard. The same can be said for big cities in Arizona and in other parts of the US. They are like vultures, like predators. They get control of these big cities because they want the electorate. They don't care about people scattered on a big No, they care about votes, rigging the election, rigging possibly any election that they might face, and it becomes more easy if you control the big cities. On top of that, there is also the fact that we are now in 2022 with a political party, the Republican Party, which has yet renewed itself with Donald J. Trump, who has made great things during his presidency, but is very disappointing now. He has jumped on the vaccine bandwagon. Well, he has created the vaccine. Yeah, what?
Well, like, I used to really like Melania, and I was following her on Twitter. I don't use Twitter that much, but I share his articles, and I was following her. And then the whole thing came out with her eyes. She put this painting out, which is I think it's a digital art. And then it was made you only can buy it with cryptocurrency, and it completely turned me off. I mean, first of all, it's so it's really vain to think that people want to have this picture of your eyes in their house, and then with all the problems people are having with money and everything, that they're going to spend money on this. Of all the things she could have done,
somebody's talking about January 6th was a setup, indeed. And that was
cryptocurrency, I just don't understand why she's pushing it when Donald Trump said that he didn't like it, that he liked the dollar. Now all of a sudden she's pushing this cryptocurrency, which I'm totally against. So, I mean, I just don't feel right about it, and I don't understand why she's doing this. And so it turned me off to her. So now I'm not following her anymore.
That's it, Melania. You lost Christy as a follower, a very influential one.
Not really. She could care less.
She could care less. But I used to be the president of Italians for Trump, and now I'm very disappointed president of Italians for Trump, because I think that he has done very good things, but now in 2021 he has unfortunately last year 2021, and now in 2022 it seems like he probably is going to show even more his true colors. He already did in 2021, and it's been a disappointment.
What about this thing with Epstein and the island and all that?
Okay, now Epstein. You see, when she was condemned the other day, Christy Mia said, "But you said that she will not be condemned." I said, "Christy, wait and see, because she's very powerful, and it's all very calculated what has happened with Ghislaine Maxwell." Why is very calculated? And I tell you why. Because now that she's basically being, she has received she has basically faced a court that has condemned her, but what's going to happen with the sentence is decided. That's another thing. It's a completely different thing. Because what's happening is that the Ghislaine Maxwell might be able now to strike a deal. And that is really what she's pointing on. She wants to strike a deal. So what's going to happen? It's going to happen that probably she's going to say, I'm going to start naming Donald J. Trump. I'm going to start naming Bill Clinton. I'm going to start telling what these people really did. So there is a speculation, and it's not me who says it, but even The Guardian, that she will be able to cut some kind of deal in exchange of information on this or either her silence because the FBI went and took from Epstein's residency a lot of material which has been secreted. So speculation grows that Maxwell may try to cut a deal for reduced sentence. Experts say any deal depends on whether U.S. government believes it's worth investigating network that may have been involved. Okay? Now that the British former social media Maxwell has been convicted, sorry, not sentenced, convicted, because that's the right judicial term, Christine? Mm-hmm. Because she has not yet received the sentencing.
Yeah.
She's been convicted. It's two different things. Speculation is going that she may try to cut a deal and become a government witness in any broader investigation into elite social circle over ex-boyfriend Jeffrey Epstein. Maxwell will be aiming for a reduced sentence by naming powerful names when it comes to others who may be involved in Epstein crimes. So all this confirms what I said from the beginning, or not?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because she's gonna start saying, "Oh, I'm gonna start singing," and she's gonna sing. She could sing. She could make Hillary Clinton also appear in her, no? Because she was also close to Hillary, not only to Bill Clinton. Hillary also apparently visited the island with. I mean, they both like young girls.
That's nasty.
No, but what can you do? Bill Clinton is a pervert, but his wife is equally a pervert. So, if she's still alive, I think that in 1 year she's going to be out of prison.
Okay.
I think, because I mean, this is
I don't know.
but I mean, it seems like that's where it's the direction.
I hope not.
I hope, well, we hope not, but that seems to be the direction. In the meantime, though, the BBC has done a very brutta figura, as they say in Italy, because as a commentator, they called Alan Dershowitz, who's been directly involved, accused by Giuffre. So, okay, let me go into this BBC moment, because I think that is really incredible how the BBC has given Alan Dershowitz the possibility of saying these things, because he's like really saying things that are very bad and should be analyzed.
Well, let's get more analysis of that verdict now. We can speak to constitutional lawyer Alan Dershowitz, who joins us now. This was a much-watched trial, and after a long set of deliberations spanning Christmas with a break, suddenly the jury reached a verdict.
Well, I think the most important thing, particularly for British readers, is that the government was very careful who it used as witnesses. It did not use as a witness the woman who accused Prince Andrew, accused me, accused many other people, because...
Now he's bringing himself into the equation and saying they didn't bring that woman because that woman is discredited. While instead she has proven, I mean, with a photo that she was next to Prince Andrew. So you see, and how he defends Prince Andrew on the BBC, which is, of course, the British. It's a British royal tool of propaganda, no?
The government didn't believe she was telling the truth. In fact, she, Virginia Giuffre, was mentioned in the trial as somebody who brought young people to Epstein.
So even saying that Virginia Giuffre is a pimp herself. I mean, this is outrageous. This is outrageous. Really, I mean, she should sue this crook. This guy, close friend of Donald J. Trump. I never liked this guy, Dershowitz.
For him to abuse. And so this case does nothing at all to strengthen in any way the case against Prince Andrew. Indeed, it weakens the case against Prince Andrew considerably because the government was very selective in who it used. It used only witnesses who they believed were credible, and they deliberately didn't use the main witness, the woman who started the whole investigation, Virginia Giuffre, because ultimately they didn't believe she was telling the truth. They didn't believe that a jury would believe her, and they were right in doing so.
And they were right in doing so. He's even saying that. I mean, this is outrageous what's happening on the BBC.
It was very smart on the part of the government.
And yet, the version, the image that was portrayed of Ghislaine Maxwell as a sophisticated predator is the one that the jury have agreed with.
Well, the jury agreed that she helped Jeffrey Epstein in his activities. And the question then is whether or not she will be sentenced as if she were Jeffrey Epstein or sentenced as if she were simply somebody who facilitated and helped. And the other question is, who else will be charged? Because the testimony introduced evidence that other people were guilty and involved.
Including yourself. I mean, it's insane, Dershowitz. I mean, what the BBC has done, it's incredible here, no? What do you think, Christine? I mean, to let him also make such an accusation against Virginia Giuffre, who is a victim.
Maybe your cousin there in the
Andrew.
palace is a little bit.
Prince Andrew is pulling the strings. You remember that right at the start of this crisis, I gave a phone call to Prince Andrew.
I wish we still had that.
Yeah, okay, it was a great call.
I
mean, I guess that the number must have changed by now, probably. Okay, welcome to the Leo Zagami show. 16 minutes past the hour, wherever you are on this planet called Earth. 2022, this new year.
It's going to be a great year.
You see, it's not going to be a great year.
Well, how can you go into the year thinking it's going to be a crappy year? I mean, you have to be...
Okay, you can have a positive approach.
I'm going to have a positive.
Okay, I understand. You must have a positive approach, but you can't...
you can be positive and still be aware.
You can't elude yourself.
I'm not eluded. I'm not.
Okay. As the apocalypse unfolds...
What am I supposed to go cry in a corner?
No, absolutely. Remember, guys, in less than 15 minutes, we're going to open the phone lines and we're going to start the phone calls. But before that, we have more news.
What about that guy?
Which guy?
The guy with the tiger.
Okay, yes, the guy with the tiger. That was pretty incredible what happened there. I mean, it was, of course, news that made you cry. Christy cried because of this news. She doesn't cry, but she cried because...
I cry all the time. Everything makes me cry.
No, but this one made you cry because it was
I just thought it was
dramatic.
horrible.
This guy
The whole
basically
thing is
got...
just horrible.
As you know, as most of you probably know by now, the guy was cleaning the zoo there. He entered in an area that was restricted. He might now be facing some criminal charges because of that. He caught the police with his arm inside the mouth of the tiger. These are the dramatic scenes of that evening.
Video shows the moments deputies arrived at a Southwest Florida zoo to find a man with his arm in a tiger's mouth.
Somebody got attacked by the tiger inside, ripped her arm off.
Oh my, are you serious?
Yes, we're serious.
The responding officer eventually had to shoot and kill the tiger in order to free the man from the tiger's grasp. We're now learning criminal charges are possible for that maintenance worker who entered this unauthorized area of the Naples Zoo.
And Naples is located just south of Fort Myers. Today, zoo officials said that they're grieving the loss of the tiger named Echo, but say they understand why the animal had to be shot and killed.
We fully support CCSO and what they had to do. And, the end of the day, if a person's in imminent danger, they have to take that action. And we support CCSO, and the officer, unfortunately, had to do his job.
News4Jax reporter Joe McLean spoke with trained animal professionals about the encounter. He joins us live from a local animal sanctuary.
It's only 300 apparently of these tigers, this specific kind of tigers left on this planet, and one of them was killed because of an idiot who apparently entered a restricted area. Now, hopefully, it's not to face criminal consequences for his actions. And I think that would be kind of the right thing, no? Huh?
He doesn't think so. I mean, he does that. He's an army and pregnancy. I mean, that's really
Sure. The sound went bad. Let me see if I can see. Yeah. YouTube and Facebook. Here we are back.
Are we going to take callers now? Are we going to take callers?
10 minutes still before the calls. We have still a bit of news, including finally Dr. Fauci admitting something. He never admits anything. This time, though, he admitted something regarding the relationship between children and COVID. He finally admitted that the children who are in the hospitals often are admitted with other pathologies. They're not really called in for COVID.
But the other important thing is that if you look at the children who are hospitalized, many of them are hospitalized with COVID as opposed to because of COVID. And what we mean by that, if a child goes in the hospital, they automatically get tested for COVID, and they get counted as a COVID hospitalized individual, when in fact they may go in for a broken leg or appendicitis or something like that. So it's overcounting the number of children who are, quote, hospitalized with COVID as opposed to because of COVID.
See? Yeah. Here we are. Leo and Christy, the Leo Zagami show every Saturday morning from 10 a.m. PST to 12 p.m. 12 p.m. PST. Yes, I started with one. No, it goes. I mean,
2 hours of fun.
Fast 2 hours. It goes fast 2 hours with the Leo and Christy. So enjoy the show. Spread the news about the show. And support the show with a donation through Cash App, as we no longer have PayPal, Fundly, or GoFundMe. These are, and there is also the possibility of buying a book, which is always welcome. They are books who are definitely made to stay in your collections and be cherished, because they bring a lot of information that you can't really find so easily online or anywhere else.
And yours are prophetic. I mean, your books are.
They are,
They are.
They are quite prophetic. So we are about to publish Volume 7 in a few weeks. I think probably in a couple of weeks we should finally be able to publish it. Today we showed to all our viewers. Of course, we can't show to our listeners on the radio, but we can show to our viewers the cover of my new book, which has been just produced and finished. This is the cover of my new book. Watch it. Not bad, not bad, guys.
So good.
There's a lot of symbology, a lot of details in this cover. We have to thank our graphic designer Vincenzo Viceversa for this great creation. And soon you will be able to enjoy this new book by Leo Lion Zagami, and you will be able to find it on Amazon, amongst other things.
And it will be our first book that will have a hardcover. So.
Yes, another thing. This is going to be the first book that has the hardcover option. We have done this experiment for the first time
it's
with
really great.
With this book here. Which is basically my latest Italian edition of Pope Francis, The Last Pope. It is finally available in hardcover.
I mean, we always make the same amount. For
now
books,
Amazon gives this option. We didn't charge more.
We didn't charge more. We always make the same amount for each, even the Kindle and the paperback and the hardcover. So it's not like we make more, but you get more book for your money. So it's a little bit more. A few dollars more.
Yeah, you are charged a little bit more than a paperback, but definitely it would be nice to have finally a hardcover in your house of a Leo Lion Zagami book.
And it's not like a paper.
The first country to offer such possibility was Japan. Japan always published all my books in hardcover, or at least not the first two, I think, but maybe or the first.
I think they were all
hardcover.
Yeah, they were all hardcover.
Japanese, man. Great stuff. And great paper also in Japan.
But like, I remember when I used to get hardcover books like from Stephen King, and it would be like paper, you know, and the paper, it would be a hardcover book, but it would be paper cover, and then like underneath would be
this is actually, the cover is, with this new technology, is actually on it.
Yeah.
So it's hard, So it's a card copy.
Isn't that great?
But
this is such a great cover. I know it's an Italian.
This is it's a great cover for the new edition. Unfortunately,
that's my favorite cover.
We should definitely get no sleeve. Yeah, no sleeve. It's a very good cover. Trust me, and it's even in the details. See?
Yeah.
So it's
actually, I made my books in hardcover too. I forgot.
You made them?
Yeah, I forgot I did that.
You did it?
Yeah.
Did you make them available?
Yeah, mine are in hardcover. I was doing an experiment.
Oh, the experiment. You don't even tell me.
I don't
about
have one. So
you don't even tell me about your experiments. Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are.
Okay. So
I had to learn how to do it. So
we are still in the festive mode. While Americans were traveling, a guy from El Paso going from, Americans have been traveling,
Yeah.
And a lot. But at one point, I remember you sent me an article of a guy who was basically stopped and started a fight. How did that happen, Chrissy? Did you follow that story? Because I remember you sent me.
Yeah, he was on. I think it was a Delta. I'm not sure. He was on a Delta flight. I think it was. Delta.
I found it. Was it
Delta? Oh yeah.
A Delta passenger punched an officer after being denied boarding because staff said he was too drunk. So if you are too drunk, you can't go on a plane these days. If you're visibly drunk, I guess. So if they say
I think it's always been like that.
Yeah, but now things are getting worse. Apart from the fact, mostly why? Because they are stressed out with the fact they have to go on a plane, like they go into some kind of hospital with masks and everything. Yeah. And they have to travel for hours.
They're already in a bad mood, then they get drunk. So they're in a drunken bad mood. And
but there is also another thing that if you have the possibility of purchasing something on the plane, you purchase a drink and then you can take off your mask, because then you tend to
drink more because you want to keep your mask off.
So that's how it is.
So he got arrested.
He definitely got arrested. That's how it is. Instead, I wanted to show an article here that the Guardian has published regarding what is happening in LA, where they have activated some kind of how can you say this? It's basically they are trying to check for the people who are partying around town the drugs that contain fentanyl.
Well, that's good.
So they created a testing site that with the testing strips that can detect cocaine with the fentanyl or any other drug which is cut with fentanyl. Now, I happen to know people that nearly died because of that.
Yeah.
And we actually even had the neighbor that unfortunately died because of that. So,
but he was just this really nice man, and he couldn't sleep, and so he had got some sleeping pills, and in the end, his autopsy came back, and he had died of fentanyl poisoning, which the family was really shocked about, because the most he ever did was smoke a joint now and then, and I had never even smelled that. He was just such a nice man. It was really heartbreaking when he died. So, and to find out he died like that, just really, really sad. So
apparently fentanyl, which started as a drug developed for cancer patients, has turned into an indiscriminate, virus. It's almost worse than a virus in the club scene or in any scene, because this is a deadly synthetic opioid. It's a deadly synthetic that can be that can kill, and it's flooding the street markets. A lot of drugs are cut with it. fortunately, we don't consume any of these drugs. The only drug I occasionally consume is a joint of marijuana, which is completely legal here, and you can purchase in any shop. But it's really sad to see how many people have lost their relatives or their sons or whatever because they are simply playing a game of Russian roulette these days when they use recreational drugs.
And then these kids, they take these pills at clubs, and and then all of a sudden they die because they're laced with fentanyl. I don't even know what this fentanyl is.
Yeah, well, I explained it. It's just the drug that unfortunately now...
They don't mean to be taking the fentanyl, right?
No, well, they cut it with fentanyl because it's convenient for them to get it with fentanyl.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. Well, we are about to open the lines, but before we open the lines, Christy, I know that you are from New York, and I wanted to show you a scene that they sent us from New York that I think you will appreciate. As a New Yorker, okay, this is basically happens every year in New York. It's this tradition. Now they let this classic ball go down. Did you ever assist one of these things?
I mean, I never went downtown.
You never went down because you used to live in Brooklyn.
Yeah,
you used to live in Brooklyn. Okay, these are the scenes from last night. The classic midnight event in the center of New York City. I don't know why, but this ball reminds me of the Epcot Center. It's kind of like, yeah. Ooh. Welcome to the Leozagami show. Now we are opening the phone lines, and this is Christy's favorite part of the show, when you are allowed to finally call in. That's Christy's very happy when you're finally capable of showing your love and affection for our show, because that most of the people call in are very proper, very nice people. We never had really a problem. Only once there was some kind of then disgruntled guy.
Oh, but he wasn't even bad.
He wasn't even bad. So okay. So for those who want to call in, this is the phone number. The lines are open. You can start calling now. For those who are listening on the radio, the number is 970-577-6369 +1 for those who are calling from outside the United States. I repeat, 970-577-6369 +1. You need to screen your code. No, we don't screen our codes. If you want to be, if you want to make a fool of yourself, you can. So it's funny. It's funny. So we don't have any problem. So for those who want to call, we're going to leave the phone line open until the end of the show, which is in 25 minutes. Remember, guys, you have only 25 minutes to call in and join us at the Leo Zagami show. For those who are calling us, of course, listening on the radio, they need to have the number clear. Christy, can you give the number again to them?
970-577-6369.
Not bad, not bad. I put it here also on the screen. I put it on the screen. Remember, guys, if you're calling from outside the United States, you have to add +1. Please help us support this channel by purchasing our books or by sending a donation to Cash App through Fundly or through GoFundMe. Here we have our first phone call. Welcome to the Leo Zagami Show. Who am I talking with?
Leo, how do you do? I had some pretty good comments about the Colorado wildfires, and you already know how they're trying to herd us into the major cities, and that's one way of doing it.
Yeah, can you tell us first your name? We didn't have it clear. What's your name?
Oh, Leo, my name is Tom.
Tom, where are you calling from?
I'm in Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville, Kentucky. Louisville, Kentucky. And so, how is the weather today on the first day of the new year?
You know, it's actually raining all day, and it's not very cold. You know, I'm used to colder weather being from Cleveland, Ohio, but it's not very cold at all today, so we're lucky.
Oh, you're lucky. Okay, so the question for us. I mean, you seem to be already quite knowledgeable about what's happening. Do you have any particular question, though, for us today?
I want to know how we can put an end to the nonsense and stop the globalists, you know, in conjunction with the World Economic Forum. You know, we know where they meet all the time.
Sure, no, okay. I completely understand your question, and there will be a very elaborate and long answer within my new book, which, as you see today, I've presented even the cover, so it's about to be launched. But to give you a synthetic answer, because otherwise we're going to have to be here another 10 hours, I would say that there is no possibility of stopping these people, but there is a possibility of saving you and your family if you prepare. So it's all about preparation, about knowing which are the areas which will eventually grant you the possibility of surviving, because in the next few years are more about survival and about unifying yourself with like-minded individuals in enclaves across the country that it is to fight these people. Because if you think you can fight people that have that kind of weaponry, then you're insane. Because these people have the best weaponry in the world at their disposal: artificial intelligence, face recognition, lasers, anything. They can strike you in a second, you're dead. So how you can actually fight them? Well, you can decide not to jump on board of the Great Reset and rather jump on board of the Great Reject, which is the movement which I'm trying to structure, starting from this new book. It's not an easy thing, but it has to be done. Here in the United States, more than in other countries, we have a responsibility, because on the contrary of Europe, which is going to be, it's already lost, and it doesn't have the possibility of reacting because they don't have any weapons. The First and the Second Amendment that are still in place here in the United States guarantee us still to be able to prepare, to propagate our thoughts, arm each other with weapons that, of course, can protect us. And, of course, prepare ourselves, meaning buying big chunks of land which have water, which have the right resources. You will have to be ready for any kind of outcome, though, because the next few years are going to be about extensive bacteriological warfare, nuclear fallouts, and so if you're not ready for all this, you can't illude yourself that we're going to stay in this. That's why we are fed up with the BS that Trump has put through the last few months, which is simply trying to, say, okay, yeah, just get the vaccine, No, we don't want to get the vaccine. There's some people who don't want to get the vaccine. Some people who don't believe that the vaccine is something that for some people, particularly me and my wife, we see it as obstructing your Anya chakra. They will say the people are into this chakra business. They know what that means. Means obstructing the pineal gland, means obstructing your soul and becoming a robot. Now, we are not robots. We don't like to be robots. We choose Jesus. And in fact, If you want to know my choice for 2022, here I put it on the screen for you. There is only one candidate for me in 2022, and that candidate is Jesus, our only hope. Here we are. We have our only hope, Jesus 2022. If we continue to trust these people in Washington, that's the end. I think that they have really demonstrated that they all collude with each other. It's true that the Republican Party has definitely changed its DNA. I have still some hope in people like Governor DeSantis, for example. I don't really understand Trump because his own sons are still continuing to post anti-vax and anti-establishment things that go against what the father is saying. So I don't know what kind of game they're playing there, if not just absorbing dissent. And I don't like to, I mean, I'm been the first one of the first sustainers in the world with Alex Jones. We created in 2015 the basis for Italians for Trump, for sustaining through the Italo-American community, also the Trump election, which actually was successful, turned out to be successful. I was very happy with everything that Trump did for our economy, and he might be still able to do something, but he's looking more and more compromised, and that is unfortunately a big disappointment. But if you let's go back to the answer about how can we stop these people? We can stop these people simply creating our own communities, not marrying into their own artificial intelligence BS, and structuring our communities completely independent of all the requirements, and because we're gonna have to become independent if we want to survive. I hope that gives you the answer because there is no way that you can say, Leo, I'm going to take an AK-47 and go to Davos. They're not going to even meet in Davos anymore. From this year, January, the World Economic Forum has decided to not even meet in Davos any longer. Klaus Schwab actually has some problems with the local, but I mean, Davos was a lot of money also for Swiss government and the people there. We're talking about a lot of money brought into the local economy there, but apparently Davos has accomplished their mission. So now they don't need anymore. They have accomplished their mission with the start of this crisis. And now they are just putting in place their great reset. So I hope that you realize now, rather than later, what you have to do, which is to prepare to save what little you have for you and for your dear ones. Okay?
Well, thank you very much. And I think you might have some clues and some outlines in your latest book for like-minded people to get together and help defend ourselves.
Absolutely. That's why we are creating a like-minded group, a very strong one also here in the Coachella Valley, but there is many similar ones that will be created all over the place that will be created in the name of the Great Reject, which is a new project against the Great Reset. So thank you so much. Let's move on. Happy New Year, of course. Let's move on with other callers that might join us before we end up the show in 15 minutes from now. So you still have 15 minutes to call in. The number is, for those who call from the United States, 970-577-6369. For those who call from outside the United States, remember to place +1 before all that. So +1 970-577-6369. And you can join me and Christy here on the Leo Zagami show. We are broadcasting live from Palm Springs, California, Pacific Standard Time. We still have 15 minutes to noon, and then that's it. That's it for our show, for our weekly show, Christy. But we have done also a show on Tuesday, which was rather successful. See a bunch of phone calls on Tuesday.
Yeah, we did. Everybody's sleeping from last night.
Everybody's pretty. Oh, no, let me recover. I can't call in. Maybe they're still recovering from some alcohol intake, which is, of course, completely justified from last night because it was, after all, a New Year's Eve. And we here in America were still able to party, but when they were showing these images in Europe, I noticed they were showing these images also on the European channels. They were saying, oh, well, in America, they're able to do these things. But here in Europe, we are much more restricted because we have Omicron and all that BS. So while here in America, we were still capable of having this kind of scenario, this kind of party feel, in Europe, they are living in some kind of nightmare, restrictive nightmare with oppression. They will never be able to be free again. My idea of Europe is that they are now more than ever a technocratic socialist hellhole. That's what's happening. But this was instead yesterday night in Christie's hometown of New York City, Times Square. Here, right in the center of town. Wow. Celebrating the arrival of the new year. Okay, while we wait for a possible phone call that might come in or not, depending on how people are recovering from last night, probably, I wanted to go on another topic, because the topic of yesterday of that film, which was that other film we watched, the space one, the one with
Stowaway.
Yeah, which basically there was this black guy who arrives on this spaceship as a freeloader, almost.
It's going to Mars.
Black Lives Matter in space, but there is a subject, of course, that because there was limited resources, and in the end they had to decide who has to stay on board to make all the journey towards Mars. Now, this is an interesting thing. We talked today about Nostradamus talking about scarcity of food and whatever. Here in Futurism, it says that space colonies will likely resort to cannibalism. They are going to eat each other if there is no other way to survive.
Can't eat each other.
As if things weren't going to be tough enough for future space colonists, experts now say that they are likely going to face food troubles, and that might just turn them into cannibals. Wow. Huh? How's that? Well, that's pretty... we were talking about the possibility of a nuclear fallout in Europe or in America, the prophecies of Nostradamus, one in particular led into this direction. Did you know, Christy, that Russia, by the way, Vladimir Putin talked a couple of days ago with Joe Biden once again, Russia has test-fired the new hypersonic Cyclone missile from frigate submarine. An hypersonic missile. Russia has tested an hypersonic missile. A few months ago, China has tested an hypersonic missile. Putin has called the missile test conducted last week a big event in the country's life, adding that this was a substantial step in increasing Russia's defense capabilities. Some Western experts have questioned how advanced Russia's new generation of weapons is, while recognizing that the combination of speed, maneuverability, and altitude of hypersonic missiles makes them difficult to track and intercept. So you just load them with a bunch of nuclear.
You know, you remember you were gonna call him Dan.
We wanted to call somebody. Yeah, why don't we call Rosanne? But I need my phone. Okay. Yeah, no, I have it here. Let's do that.
She probably won't answer. But
we could do this. We could do
nobody's
this.
calling.
As nobody's calling, we might call some friends. So we were thinking of calling Roseanne Barr and make her a surprise call. So we can make her a surprise call. Let's call. Let's see if Roseanne Barr is gonna answer.
If not, then you can call.
Well, you can still try to.
William.
Well, I would like to leave Prince William alone. Let's see if we can get Roseanne Barr happy. No, this is not the. Let me see. Okay. Okay, guys. Let's see if we can get. Let's see if she answers. not there. Zambar hasn't recovered from last night.
She's like, oh, I'm not talking to Leo Zagami today.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message.
Oh man, we couldn't get her. We couldn't get on the phone. Oh well, what can you do? I mean, you can't do anything about it. Somebody wasn't around. Who you want to call? Alex Jones? He probably is not around too. I mean, these people are partied way too much last night, probably. So that's how it is.
It's Saturday, so.
That's how it is, you know. It's well, nothing.
Oh well.
Well,
you can call your mother.
God, no, I think if I go my mother, she'd probably hang up on me.
Hello, darling.
Hello, darling. So, Novavax files that, well, it seems like even here, the arrival of the new... somebody's calling. 9 minutes towards the end of the transmission, somebody calls. Welcome to the Leo Zagami show. Who am I talking with?
This is Kevin. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Where are you calling from, Kevin?
Los Angeles. I'm Kev.
Ah, wow, Los Angeles.
Everybody's calling.
Well, no, just a second. Let me turn off here because I think we're having an influx of calls that comes in all over the place. My phone is even possessed.
My question is, what do you guys think about the white hat that seems to take down the cabal?
No, it's complete rubbish. All that QAnon stuff, come on, man, has been proved.
Oh, yes. I have a friend who believes in it and believes that the Galactic Federation that comes to set us all free.
Okay. So let me explain what happened there. I actually have included in my new book a whole chapter about this because I think that it's about time that somebody put some sense in people that for years followed maybe people like me, David Icke, Alex Jones, and suddenly in 2017, when this QAnon phenomenon came around, they lost it. They completely lost it because it's true. At times there was an inch of truth, but there was so much rubbish, let me tell you, so much rubbish. And so I really, for all those people who talk about white, as soon as they say white hats, what we do? What's the face of Christy when she said white hats? Christy, what face do you make when you say white hats? No. I mean, it's just like so ridiculous to even think about it. Galactic
I
Federation.
Wish there was some white hats, but there aren't.
I mean, I have a white suit today. So my camera like dressed up with a white. Is that okay? I'm not a white hat though. I might be in a way, you know. So, but let's be realistic. The illusion that is being planted in people because of this disinformation operation has really led to a lot of problems, especially for the credibility of our war against establishment. So we need to go back in the reality of the now and fight the system, which is already the conspiracy in front of us is big enough not to add this rubbish. So thank you very much for making us to giving us this question today. Hello, welcome to the Leo Zagami show. We only have 6 minutes, so we are running through calls. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Joe, Florida.
Oh, Joe from Florida, welcome. Do you follow often the Leo Zagami show?
A little bit here and there, yeah. The first time I actually saw you was on the InfoWars, so I just want to say, hey, Happy New Year and God bless you and your wife, man, and hey, praise Jesus because He is the Lord.
Absolutely. Jesus is definitely our best choice for 2022, 2023, 24, 25, 26, and forever.
Yes,
and do you have any question for us?
Not really, man. I just wanted to encourage you. I thank you for your work, and I thank you that God's using you, man, and that you keep on just like you're doing, man.
Thank you so much,
Christ, like you said, and amen to you and your wife.
Thank you.
Hey.
God bless you.
God bless you, and God bless all of Florida. What a wonderful state! What a wonderful sunny state. We have still 5 minutes, Christy. We might be able to take another couple of calls if we are if our listeners are quick enough to call in right now. I'm sorry, guys, that we don't have such a we don't have all this technology, so we kind of like at times scramble here one call, then the other comes in and put it all together. But we are trying to do our best, and please support us with Cash App, Fundly, GoFundMe, and especially the purchase of our books or the books of my wife, my books. Here, books of here, book, volume 4. These are all books that are very important. Now, in volume 4, I talked about a movie, Soylent Green, which, by the way, in Italy was renamed Survivors 2022. Because Soylent Green,
2022?
yes, Soylent Green was actually based in 2022. That was a pretty dystopian. Again, watch it again because we already watched it.
I like it.
It's a good movie with a great Charlton Heston. And so, if you want to know more about my own experience with Soylent Green, which is a movie I saw when I was in this very young, in the 70s, then I saw again when I arrived to Norway. People were talking about it a lot in Norway. I remember many years ago talking about the subject of Soylent Green. Now more than ever, with Bill Gates talking about eating steaks coming out of thin air, well, coming out of some kind of whatever, and the weird use of some algae that can be transformed in protein sounds a little bit too close to the reality of Soylent Green. A lot of people from Italy tuned in. Italiani, I will be with you soon. I'm starting the Italian show soon. They are already, they are recovering from last night, by the way. They're recovering from last night. Me and my splendid wife have had the honor of entertaining you for the last couple of hours. You can also encourage us to also maybe come on the air more often with your contributions. If we see that there is some donation thing, we will come back also on Tuesday or Thursday, but depending, because I can't take time off completing my work on this
articles
book
too,
and other articles dedicated to this show. So I mean, we are trying.
Usually what happens is you do the article and then they read it like at InfoWars, and then you end up going on InfoWars. And if you don't do the articles, then usually don't end up on InfoWars. So lately you haven't been doing the articles because we've been doing shows, and then you've mostly been writing your book. So that's
which is good, because the book that I'm about to bring out is a bomb, really. So I'm really happy with how the book is.
I can't wait to read it. I haven't read it at all.
Well, no, because you're gonna be you'll be involved in the actual creation of it soon with the editing and correction.
And then I also paginate it.
In Denmark. Why I'm talking about Denmark? Because finally in Denmark, they came out with the confirmation of the use of hundreds of orphans, torturing them with experiments that were linked to MK Ultra. Now, this confirms what my friend Thomas Hall many years ago, because these assholes had locked me in there in Scandinavia when I went against their local satanic lodges. And now it's all confirmed that the Central Intelligence Agency was secretly behind these experiments that went on also in Norway, not only in Denmark, by the way. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. It's time for of course, our farewell. How you gonna say?
Farewell. I thought you were going to do James Bond. Oh well, we can do this.
James Bond. Who is James Bond?
I thought you were going to do James Bond.
I know, but who is James Bond?
I don't know. You're the...
Okay, guys, take care.
Rambo.
Streaming is disconnected on Aftermath FM. Rambo is arriving. Rambo is arriving here.
Here he is.
Here we are.
Here he is.
The one and only Rambo. Huh? Here he is.
He's sleeping.
Rambo, you've been sleeping? Huh? Been lazy? He usually wakes up for the Italian show. Huh? Rambo.
He's wearing his sweatshirt.
Yeah, he has a sweatshirt, Zagamiani 01. I hope you enjoyed the show, all of you. Happy New Year.
Bye,
all over the world, wherever you are. Please remember, it might be a doom and gloom scenario, but we can still make it positive if we are positive. If we transmit positivity in our environment and we take care of our of the people like us who are like-minded, because it's difficult at times to even connect to your own family members who might think in a different way.
Yeah.
But you can still try to convince them. In the meantime, prepare though your exit route from this reality of control and oppression, because we will need to connect at one point together with Jesus in the end time scenario that is approaching. So thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you all. And
bye, everyone.
God bless
you.
2022.
God bless 2022.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Stay safe. I love you.
From Palm Springs, California, that was the Leozagami Show with Christy and Leo. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bye-bye.